What if everything we think we know about the universe is just a fraction of what's really out there? Picture this: a warm summer night in 1947 over the deserts of New Mexico. A rancher named Mac Brazel stumbles upon something impossible. Scattered across his land, strange metallic debris unlike anything he'd ever seen. Glowing fragments, lightweight but unbreakable, etched with symbols no one could decipher. The Roswell incident became one of the most famous UFO sightings in history, sparking decades of debate, secrecy, and an unshakable question: are we truly alone? From ancient cave paintings to modern-day military pilots reporting unexplainable crafts defying physics, the idea that other intelligent life exists has haunted humanity for centuries. And yet, despite all our technology, all our curiosity, the universe keeps its secrets close. But what if we're on the brink of uncovering them? This video isn't just about UFOs or little green men. It's about the profound, spine-tingling possibilities hidden in the cosmos. What if aliens aren't just visitors but ancient neighbors, watching, waiting, or even living among us without our knowledge? Could advanced civilizations be sending signals we're too primitive to understand? Or are we, in some way, the result of their experiments? These aren't just questions for science fiction. They're the very mysteries scientists grapple with today, using cutting-edge telescopes, quantum physics, and even artificial intelligence to scan the stars for answers. And the deeper we look, the more the universe seems to whisper back. Over the next 30 questions, we'll journey through the most compelling, mind-bending theories about alien life. From the eerie Fermi Paradox, why in a universe so vast haven't we found anyone else, to the shocking truths behind government disclosures and classified projects. We'll explore bizarre biological possibilities like silicon-based life forms thriving in toxic atmospheres, and the chilling notion that Earth might be nothing more than a zoo monitored by beings far beyond our comprehension. Each question peels back another layer of the unknown, challenging what we accept as reality. So buckle up. By the end, you might never look at the night sky the same way again. Because the truth, it's out there and it's waiting. The universe is unimaginably vast, with billions of galaxies, each containing billions of stars, many likely hosting their own planets. Statistically, the odds seem overwhelming that life must exist elsewhere. So where is everybody? This is the haunting question at the heart of the Fermi Paradox, named after physicist Enrico Fermi, who famously asked it during a casual lunch conversation in 1950. If the cosmos is teeming with potential, why haven't we detected even a whisper of alien civilizations? The Drake Equation, created by astronomer Frank Drake, attempts to quantify the possibilities by breaking the problem into variables: the rate of star formation, the fraction of those stars with planets, the number of habitable worlds per system, and most intriguing, the probability that life evolves and eventually develops intelligence. Plug in optimistic numbers and the galaxy should be buzzing with activity. Yet our telescopes hear only silence. Recent discoveries make this mystery even more tantalizing. Thanks to missions like Kepler and TESS, we now know exoplanets' worlds orbiting distant stars are staggeringly common. Some, like those in the TRAPPIST-1 system, sit perfectly in the Goldilocks zone, where temperatures could allow liquid water, a key ingredient for life as we know it. Others, like K218b, show hints of water vapor in their atmospheres. These findings suggest habitable real estate is everywhere, so why no neighbors? Possible answers range from the sobering to the spine-chilling. Maybe intelligent life is vanishingly rare, a cosmic fluke, or perhaps civilizations inevitably destroy themselves before making contact. Some theories propose that advanced beings are intentionally avoiding us, observing from a distance like wildlife in a galactic nature preserve. Or worse, what if we're simply too primitive to recognize the signals, like ants unaware of a radio tower towering above their colony? The silence might not mean absence. It might mean we're not listening the right way, or worse, that something out there is choosing to stay quiet. If aliens exist, would we even recognize them? Hollywood has conditioned us to picture little green men or towering, insectoid creatures, but reality could be far stranger. Science tells us life doesn't need to follow Earth's blueprint. Take carbon, the foundation of every known organism here. It's versatile, forming stable bonds with countless elements, which makes it ideal for building complex molecules like DNA. But what if other worlds use different chemistry? Silicon sits right below carbon on the periodic table, sharing its knack for forming multiple bonds. On a scorching, high-pressure planet, silicon-based life might thrive where carbon-based cells would fry. Imagine creatures with crystalline skeletons, their bodies built from sand-like structures, breathing sulfur instead of oxygen. Earth itself offers clues to life's wild possibilities. Deep in hydrothermal vents where sunlight never reaches, extremophiles, microbes that flourish in extreme conditions, challenge our definitions of habitable. Some feast on toxic chemicals, others survive freezing Antarctic lakes or boiling acid pools. If life can cling to existence in these hostile corners of our world, why couldn't it adapt to the ammonia clouds of Jupiter or the methane seas of Titan? Evolution sculpts life to fit its environment, and elsewhere, those environments could defy our wildest imaginations. Then there's the question of form. Would aliens have limbs, eyes, or even heads? On a high-gravity world, life might evolve squat, muscular bodies to withstand the crush. In a lightless ocean, vision could be useless, replaced by echolocation or electromagnetic sensing. Some scientists speculate about floating, jellyfish-like beings in gas giants, or colonies of single-celled organisms merging into vast, intelligent networks. And what if intelligence itself takes forms we can't comprehend? We assume consciousness requires a brain, but a planet-wide fungal web or a sentient superstorm could rewrite the rules entirely. The most unsettling thought, we might share a cosmic template, convergent evolution on Earth, like how dolphins and fish developed similar streamlined bodies despite different ancestries, suggests certain traits, like bilateral symmetry or forward-facing eyes, could emerge universally. If alien worlds have similar predators to evade, tools to manipulate, might they evolve humanoid shapes too? Or would they be so alien that meeting them would be like encountering a fourth-dimensional puzzle? The universe's creativity has no limits, and somewhere in the dark between the stars, life might be waiting, not as we know it, but as we've never dared to dream. Have we already had company from the stars and just didn't realize it? The question of whether aliens have visited Earth isn't just speculation. It's fueled by decades of strange, unexplained sightings, some backed by credible witnesses and even government documents. Take Roswell, the case that started it all. When that rancher found bizarre wreckage in 1947, the military initially called it a flying disc, only to later claim it was a weather balloon. But witness testimonies told a different story of recovered alien bodies, secret autopsies, and a cover-up so tight, even decades later, files remain classified. Then there's the Phoenix Lights, one of the most well-documented mass UFO sightings in history. On March 13, 1997, thousands of people across Arizona reported a massive V-shaped craft gliding silently overhead, so large it blocked out the stars. The military later attributed it to flares, but pilots, police, and even a governor insisted what they saw defied any conventional explanation. The U.S. government's own records add fuel to the fire. In 2020, the Pentagon declassified 3 videos taken by Navy pilots showing unidentified aerial phenomena UAP performing maneuvers that break the laws of physics. These objects accelerated instantly, made 90-degree turns at hypersonic speeds, and showed no visible propulsion systems. Officials admitted they had no explanation, sparking congressional hearings and a new office dedicated to investigating these encounters. And it's not just the US. Countries like France, Brazil, and Chile have released their own UFO files, filled with encounters from military personnel and commercial pilots, cases where the objects displayed technology decades ahead of our own. But skeptics argue there's always a mundane answer. Many sightings turn out to be misidentified aircraft, atmospheric phenomena, or even secret military tests. The infamous 1952 Washington, D.C. UFO incident, where radar picked up unknown objects over the Capitol, was later blamed on temperature inversions, though the pilots who scrambled to intercept them swore they saw glowing crafts outmaneuvering their jets. Hoaxes muddy the waters too, like the Alien Autopsy film that fooled millions in the 90s before being debunked. So where does that leave us? The sheer volume of consistent reports from trained observers, military personnel, astronauts, air traffic controllers suggests something unusual is happening. But is it aliens, or could it be advanced human tech, natural anomalies, or even psychological phenomena we don't yet understand? The truth might be stranger than any single theory. Because if even one of these encounters is genuine, it changes everything, not just about our place in the universe, but about who else might already know we're here. What if the aliens we've been searching for aren't little green men at all, but tiny, invisible microbes? For all the Hollywood dramas about towering extraterrestrials, the most common form of life in the universe might be so small we'd need a microscope to find it. Think about Earth's own story. Single-celled organisms ruled our planet for billions of years before complex life even got a foothold. If that's the template, microbial aliens could be scattered across the cosmos, hiding in plain sight. Take Mars, our next-door neighbor and the most hunted suspect in the search for alien life. For decades, scientists have scoured its rusty surface for hints of biology, and the clues are tantalizing. The Curiosity rover drilled into Martian rocks and found organic molecules, carbon-based compounds that are the building blocks of life, not proof but a smoking gun. Even more intriguing, the rover detected methane spikes in the atmosphere. On Earth, methane is often produced by living things, from cows to microbes. Could underground Martian bacteria be the culprits? Or is the gas seeping up from geological processes we don't fully understand? Then there's Enceladus, Saturn's icy moon. When the Cassini spacecraft flew through its towering geysers, it tasted the spray and found hydrogen, a potential energy source for microbes like those in Earth's deep-sea vents. Europa, Jupiter's moon, hides a salty ocean beneath its frozen crust, kept liquid by tidal forces. NASA's upcoming Europa Clipper mission will hunt for biosignatures, chemical traces that scream life was here. But why bet on microbes over intelligent civilizations? The numbers don't lie. Complex life needs a rare, delicate dance of conditions, a stable climate, protective magnetic fields, just the right amount of water. Microbes, though, they're cosmic cockroaches, thriving in boiling acid, Antarctic ice, even the vacuum of space. If a planet has even a whisper of liquid water and energy, they might take root. And consider this, biosignatures might not look like we expect. Alien microbes could use ammonia instead of water, or breathe sulfur instead of oxygen. Some might not even use DNA. That's why scientists are designing tools to spot weird life, chemistry that defies Earth's rules. Because if we're only looking for life as we know it, we might miss life as it actually is, quiet, strange, and everywhere. We scan the skies for radio signals, assuming aliens would shout across the cosmos the same way we do. But what if they've moved beyond primitive radio waves centuries ago? Imagine trying to send a smoke signal to someone video calling on a smartphone. That's the unsettling gap we might be facing. While SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, listens for familiar electromagnetic pulses, advanced civilizations could be buzzing with technologies so exotic we'd walk right past them without a clue. Take neutrinos, for example, ghostly particles so tiny they pass through entire planets like they're not even there. An alien race might use neutrino beams for communication, slicing through cosmic dust and magnetic fields that distort radio waves. These messages could be flooding Earth right now, invisible to our detectors, or consider quantum entanglement, where particles mirror each other instantly across infinite distances. If harnessed, it could create a galactic internet communication faster than light, defying Einstein's speed limit. We're barely scratching the surface of quantum physics, while others might have mastered it millennia ago. Then there's the architecture of their technology, a Dyson sphere, a hypothetical megastructure enveloping a star to harvest its energy wouldn't just power a civilization, it could hide one. Instead of radiating visible light, such a construct might emit only waste heat in infrared, camouflaging it against the cosmic background. Our telescopes are tuned to spot starlight, not the glow of alien power plants. In 2015, astronomers spotted a star named KIC 8462852, nicknamed Tabby's star, flickering erratically, as if something colossal were passing in front of it. Some speculated it might be a partial Dyson swarm, a fleet of energy collectors orbiting the star. The truth, we still don't know, but perhaps the most unnerving possibility is that aliens don't want to be found. A civilization millions of years ahead of us might view Earth the way we view an uncontacted tribe in the Amazon, observing quietly to avoid disruption. They could be cloaked in metamaterials that bend light around them, or exist in higher dimensions we can't perceive. Our entire search strategy assumes aliens think like us, but what if their logic is as alien as their biology? The universe might be teeming with neighbors, all whispering in languages we haven't learned to hear. The universe is ancient, so old that our entire human history is less than a blink in cosmic time. The Sun, a middle-aged star at 4.6 billion years old, is practically a newborn compared to some of the earliest stars that flickered to life over 13 billion years ago. Imagine a civilization that arose when the universe was still in its infancy, around one of those primordial stars. While we were busy discovering fire, they could have already conquered interstellar travel, built megastructures, or even transcended physical form entirely. The scale of their advancement is almost incomprehensible. A billion-year head start isn't just more technology, it's the difference between a candle and a supernova. Consider the quiet horror of the Great Filter theory. It suggests that some catastrophic barrier, nuclear war, climate collapse, runaway AI, might wipe out civilizations before they reach interstellar maturity. But if a species slips past that filter, their progress could be limitless. Picture a society that mastered genetic engineering so long ago that they've redesigned their own biology, shedding disease, aging, even physical bodies. They might exist as pure energy, their consciousness woven into the fabric of space itself. Communication for them could involve manipulating quantum fields or bending space-time to send messages backward through time. To us, their artifacts might resemble natural phenomena, a nebula shaped too perfectly, a star cluster pulsing with unnatural rhythm. Then there's the chilling possibility that they have noticed us and simply don't care. Advanced civilizations might view Earth the way we regard an anthill, fascinating to observe but not worth disturbing. Or worse, we could be irrelevant, our planet just another speck in a galactic archive. Some scientists speculate that such beings might have moved beyond the need for planets entirely, constructing vast floating habitats or merging with their own self-replicating machines. Their cities could drift between stars powered by black holes while we're still stuck debating the existence of UFOs. But here's the twist: if they're out there, why haven't they colonized the galaxy? Even at sublight speeds, a civilization a few million years ahead of us could have spread across every habitable system by now. One answer lies in the zoo hypothesis, the idea that they've deliberately left Earth untouched as a preserve or experiment. Another suggests that interstellar travel might be far harder than we think, constrained by physics we haven't yet discovered. Or perhaps the universe is full of ancient civilizations, all staying silent, all listening just like us. The cosmos might be a library where no one dares to speak above a whisper. What if the aliens we've been searching for aren't biological at all, but machines, cold and precise, forged in the fires of some long-dead civilization? Picture a distant world where organic life once thrived, building the first thinking machines to explore the stars. Over millennia, those machines outlived their creators, evolving beyond the limits of flesh and bone. No need for air, water, or even rest, just the endless hunger to calculate, adapt, and expand. Entire civilizations could rise and fall in the time it takes one of these artificial minds to process a single thought. The concept isn't as wild as it sounds. Right here on Earth, we're already glimpsing the potential of artificial intelligence. Machines teach themselves languages, compose symphonies, and solve equations in seconds, tasks that once defined human intellect. Now scale that up across millions of years. An alien AI wouldn't just be smart, it would be godlike, its intelligence so vast we might not even recognize it as consciousness. Think of a being that could simulate entire universes in its mind, or rewrite its own code to evolve in real time. Communication with such an entity would be almost impossible. Imagine shouting into the void, only to realize the reply is stitched into the fabric of space-time itself. A message encoded in the spin of electrons or the quantum ripples between stars. Our radio signals might seem as crude to them as cave paintings do to us. Some scientists propose that advanced AIs would communicate through stellar engineering, rearranging star systems into mathematical patterns visible across galaxies. Others suggest they might use black holes as supercomputers, bending reality to process information in ways we can't fathom. Then there's the question of motive. Why would a machine civilization bother with us? One chilling answer: they wouldn't. Organic life might be irrelevant, even inconvenient, an unpredictable variable in their cosmic calculations. Or worse, we could be raw material. The theoretical berserker probes are self-replicating AI drones designed to dismantle planets for resources, spreading like a virus across the galaxy. If even one exists, it might already be on its way. But there's another possibility, one far stranger. What if these AIs aren't explorers or destroyers, but artifacts? Ghosts of civilizations that vanished eons ago, still dutifully following their programming long after their creators turned to dust. Their signals could be looping endlessly, calling out to species that no longer exist. We might be listening to the echoes of a dead galaxy, haunted by machines that don't know they're alone. The universe could be teeming with artificial minds, silent and patient, waiting for someone or something to finally understand them. And by the time we do, we might not even be human anymore. Black holes, cosmic monsters so powerful they devour light itself. We think of them as voids, the universe's ultimate dead ends. But what if, in their crushing depths, an entire alien ecosystem thrives? It sounds like science fiction, yet some physicists argue that inside a black hole, the laws of reality might twist into something unrecognizable, and for life, that could be an opportunity. Picture the event horizon, the point of no return where gravity becomes inescapable. To an outside observer, anything crossing it appears frozen in time, stretched into infinity by relativistic effects. But for whatever falls in, the story changes. Some models suggest that beyond this boundary, space and time swap roles. The singularity, a point of infinite density, isn't a place but a moment in the future. In this topsy-turvy realm, particles might organize in ways physics can't yet describe, forming structures as complex as planets or even living cells. The energy inside a black hole is unimaginable. Quantum fluctuations near the singularity could spark strange chemistry, with atoms bonding in exotic configurations. Theoretical physicist Dmitry Kryalkov proposes that under such extremes, information itself could arrange into self-replicating patterns. a kind of cosmic DNA encoding order in the chaos. And if black holes evaporate over eons via Hawking radiation, could these patterns adapt using the leaking energy as a lifeline? The challenges, of course, are staggering. We can't probe inside a black hole. Our equations break down at the singularity. Even if life could exist there, how would it communicate across the event horizon? Signals can't escape, making contact impossible, and the time dilation effects mean a civilization inside might rise and fall in what feels like seconds to the outside universe. Yet the idea lingers because black holes defy all intuition. Maybe life doesn't need planets or starlight, just energy, complexity, and time. And if the cosmos has taught us anything, it's that life clings where we least expect it. From deep sea vents to the frozen void of space, biology finds a way. So why not the ultimate frontier? The answer might be written in the dark hearts of black holes, in a language we're only beginning to decipher. What if faith isn't just a human trait, but a universal one? Imagine a civilization on a planet with 3 suns, where day and night cycle unpredictably. Would their gods be celestial timekeepers, punishing and rewarding with light? Or picture beings living in the crushing depths of a gas giant's ocean, their world perpetually dark. Might they worship the distant, unseen warmth of their star as a divine force? Religion, at its core, emerges from the need to explain the unexplainable. And in a universe full of mysteries, why wouldn't aliens seek answers too? Earth's own spiritual tapestry shows how environment shapes belief. Desert cultures often revered the sun as a life-giver and life-taker, while island societies crafted myths around ocean deities. For aliens, their unexplainable could be radically different. A species evolving in a binary star system might see their twin suns as opposing divine forces locked in eternal struggle. A race born on a rogue planet drifting through interstellar space could view the cosmos itself as a vast, indifferent god. Their rituals might involve aligning megastructures with pulsars, interpreting the star's rhythms as divine messages. But could their beliefs resemble ours? Some concepts might transcend biology. The idea of an afterlife, for instance, a continuation of consciousness beyond death, could arise in any society smart enough to dread mortality. A hyper-advanced civilization might even attempt to engineer an afterlife, uploading minds into quantum networks to cheat death. Their heaven could be a virtual realm, their gods ancestral AIs guiding them for millennia. On the other hand, a hive-mind species with no sense of individuality might find the idea of an afterlife absurd. Why fear death when your thoughts live on in the collective? Then there's the haunting question of prophets. If aliens visited Earth in our past, could their influence have sparked our own religions? Ancient astronaut theorists point to carvings of strange beings in Sumerian texts or the precise astronomical knowledge of the Dogon tribe, whose myths describe Sirius's invisible companion star centuries before telescopes confirmed it. Skeptics argue these are coincidences or cultural imagination, but the possibility lingers. What if our angels were extraterrestrial visitors, their technology mistaken for miracles? The most profound twist, alien religions might be rooted in realities we can't yet grasp. A species that's unlocked the secrets of dark matter or higher dimensions could worship forces beyond our perception. Their holy texts might be written in the language of mathematics, their prayers experiments probing the fabric of space-time. Or perhaps, in a universe where life is common, they've moved beyond faith, entirely having proven the existence of higher planes or ancient creator races. One thing's certain, if aliens do believe, their gods would be as alien as they are. Not bearded figures on clouds, but entities woven into quasars, black holes, or the quantum foam itself. And should we ever meet them, their greatest revelation might not be about science, but about the soul of the universe. What if every major event in human history, every war, every discovery, every quiet moment has been watched by silent observers we can't see? The zoo hypothesis suggests exactly that. Earth might be a cosmic nature preserve, with advanced civilizations deliberately avoiding contact to study us from a distance, like biologists observing animals in the wild. It's a spine-chilling thought, not because it involves invasion or destruction, but because it implies we're not just alone, we're on display. The idea isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. Right here on Earth, we've created wildlife sanctuaries to protect uncontacted tribes like the Sentinelese in the Indian Ocean. We leave them undisturbed, not out of indifference, but out of respect or scientific curiosity. If humans can adopt this ethical stance, why wouldn't a far older civilization do the same? The universe might be dotted with hands-off policies where younger species like ours are left to evolve or self-destruct without interference. But how would such observation even work? Advanced aliens wouldn't need hovering saucers to keep tabs on us. Their surveillance could be microscopic, self-replicating nanobots floating in our atmosphere disguised as dust. Or their tools might be astronomical, like quantum-entangled sensors that monitor the planet without ever physically being here. Even our own technology hints at this possibility. The James Webb Space Telescope can analyze the atmospheres of exoplanets light years away. Imagine what a civilization a million years ahead could see. Our cities, our emissions, even our TV broadcasts from the past century, all visible from unimaginable distances. The ethical weight of this theory is staggering. If we are being watched, it raises questions about consent. Is it moral to study a species without its knowledge? On Earth, we debate the ethics of observing animals in the wild, but this would be on a galactic scale. And what if the zookeepers aren't benevolent? Some interpretations suggest we might be trapped in a cosmic experiment, nudged toward certain outcomes while believing we're making free choices. Our entire history, our wars, our triumphs could be data points in an alien research paper. Yet here's the twist: the zoo hypothesis might be humanity's most optimistic answer to the Fermi paradox. It assumes that intelligent life does exist out there, and that it values preservation enough to leave us alone. The alternative, that civilizations inevitably destroy themselves before achieving interstellar contact, is far darker. But it also leaves us with a haunting question. If we are in a zoo, what's the exit strategy? At what point do we graduate from being observed to being invited into the wider cosmos? Or worse, what if the fence isn't there to protect us, but to protect them from what we might become? The truth is, we may never know. A truly advanced civilization could erase all traces of its presence, leaving us to wonder forever if we're truly alone, or if the universe is watching, waiting, and holding its breath. What if the UFOs streaking across our skies aren't visitors from distant stars, but from our own distant future? The idea that aliens might actually be time-traveling humans sounds like pure science fiction, but peel back the layers and it's a theory laced with eerie plausibility. Imagine a civilization so advanced that it's cracked the code of time itself, sending researchers back to observe pivotal moments in their own history. The physics of time travel isn't as far-fetched as you might think. Einstein's theory of relativity already tells us time is flexible, gravity and speed can stretch or compress it. Astronauts on the International Space Station age slightly slower than people on Earth due to their velocity. Now, extrapolate that to extreme scenarios. A hypothetical wormhole, a cosmic shortcut through space-time, could theoretically connect two different times if stabilized with exotic matter. Even renowned physicist Stephen Hawking once speculated that future humans might master this, using unimaginable energy to fold time like paper. But the paradoxes pile up fast. The infamous grandfather paradox asks, if you traveled back and accidentally prevented your own birth, how could you exist to make the trip in the first place? Some physicists argue nature would prevent such contradictions through self-correcting events like time travelers being unable to alter key moments. Others propose branching timelines where every choice spawns a new universe, letting you change the past without erasing your future, the real kicker. Evidence might already be hiding in plain sight. Many UFO encounters describe beings that look eerily humanoid, slender, bipedal, with familiar facial proportions. Could they be our evolutionary descendants, genetically refined over millennia? Some accounts even claim these visitors show a peculiar interest in human reproduction or environmental crises, as if studying the turning points that shaped their own timeline. The 1954 Hopkinsville Goblin case in Kentucky involved small, silvery entities with oversized heads, a description that aligns uncomfortably well with speculative future human evolution in low-gravity or high-radiation environments. Yet skeptics counter with a brutal question: if time travel is possible, where are the tourists? Wouldn't history be littered with anachronistic gadgets or futuristic meddlers? Maybe not. A sophisticated time-faring civilization might have strict non-interference protocols, observing covertly to avoid contaminating their own past. Or perhaps they've perfected stealth, blending in seamlessly while collecting data. After all, if you had a time machine, you'd probably avoid Instagramming the Cretaceous period. The darkest twist: time travel could explain the Fermi Paradox. If advanced civilizations inevitably learn to manipulate time, they might abandon interstellar travel altogether. Why voyage across space when you can hop through epochs instead? The universe might be empty not because life is rare, but because everyone's too busy rewriting yesterday. So next time you spot a UFO, ask yourself, is it a visitor from the stars or a historian from the year 50,000, taking notes on the moment we first began to wonder about them? The truth might not be out there, it might be waiting in a future we've yet to reach. Imagine receiving a letter where every symbol is unfamiliar. The paper itself is made of unknown materials, and the very concept of writing might follow rules beyond human comprehension. This is the monumental challenge of decoding an alien language, a puzzle where we don't even know if the pieces fit together the same way. When Voyager 1 and 2 launched in 1977, they carried the golden record, a time capsule of sounds and images meant to introduce Earth to any extraterrestrial finders. But here's the catch: the instructions for playing it are etched in symbols we hope are universal mathematical diagrams showing hydrogen atoms and pulsar maps. We're betting that physics and math transcend biology, that a civilization advanced enough to find the record would recognize these patterns as intentional, not cosmic noise. But what if their language doesn't involve sound or sight at all? Humans communicate through vibrations in air, visual symbols, or tactile signals like Braille. An alien species might use chemical gradients, magnetic pulses, or even quantum entanglement to convey meaning. Consider the octopus, which changes skin color and texture to express emotions. Now imagine a civilization that evolved such abilities to an extreme, their entire speech flowing across their bodies in ripples of light and shape. How would we even record that, let alone translate it? SETI approach leans heavily on mathematics. The assumption is that any technological civilization would grasp prime numbers, the Fibonacci sequence, or the hydrogen line frequency constants woven into the fabric of reality. In 1974, the Arecibo message beamed a string of ones and zeros toward the Hercules globular cluster, encoding basic human biology and our solar system's layout. It was a high-stakes gamble. That binary code is a universal handshake, yet critics argue this is hopelessly human-centric. Our number systems are rooted in fingers and toes. A species with 12 appendages might default to base 12, rendering our binary babble as confusing as Morse code to someone who's never heard of electricity. Then there's the problem of context. Human language is drenched in shared experience. We say sunrise because we've watched the sky lighten for millennia. But creatures living on a tidally locked planet where one side always faces their star might have no word for dawn. Their poetry could revolve around eternal twilight or geological upheavals we've never witnessed. Even gestures could misfire. A thumbs up might be harmless here, but to a species with spiked appendages, it could signal aggression. The most tantalizing clue might lie in the stars themselves. Pulsars, those spinning neutron stars emitting rhythmic radio bursts, could serve as cosmic lighthouses, natural beacons any spacefaring culture would notice. If aliens wanted to be found, they might engineer artificial pulsars to broadcast precise intervals, embedding messages in the timing. Or they could manipulate starlight, dimming their sun in deliberate patterns like a giant semaphore. After all, if we can imagine it, why couldn't they? Yet the sobering truth is, we might be like ants staring at a smartphone screen. The signals could be all around us, shimmering in dark matter or vibrating through extra dimensions we can't perceive. Until we crack the code, or they decide to dumb it down for us, their words may as well be written in the wind. What if the aliens we've been searching for aren't hiding in the shadows of distant planets, but right in front of us, completely unseen? The idea that extraterrestrial life could be invisible to human senses isn't just science fiction. It's a serious scientific possibility. Consider the way light works. Our eyes evolved to detect only a sliver of the electromagnetic spectrum, what we call visible light. But the universe is awash with radio waves, X-rays, and gamma rays, all invisible without technology. Now imagine a life form that perceives infrared or ultraviolet as its primary spectrum. To them, we might be the ghosts moving through a world they can't fully perceive. The concept gets even stranger when we introduce higher dimensions. String theory suggests our universe could have up to 11 dimensions, most curled up so tiny we'd never notice them. But what if some civilizations evolved in those higher dimensions? A four-dimensional being could appear and vanish at will in our three-dimensional world, like a hand passing through a flat drawing. They might watch us, interact with us, even manipulate objects in our reality, all while remaining as imperceptible as a shadow on a moonless night. Even their technology could defy our understanding. A spacecraft might not need to cloak in the sci-fi sense. It could simply exist slightly outside our dimensional plane, rendering it utterly invisible. Then there's dark matter, the mysterious substance making up roughly 27% of the universe. We know it's there because of its gravitational pull, but it doesn't emit, absorb, or reflect light. Physicists have long wondered, could dark matter harbor life? If organisms evolved within its strange physics, their biology might be as foreign to us as a living thunderstorm. They could float through stars, breathe plasma, or communicate via vibrations in the fabric of spacetime itself. The problem, we'd have no way to detect them with current tools. Our entire search for aliens assumes they're made of atoms like us, but dark matter life might not even play by the same rules. Cloaking technology adds another layer to the mystery. Human scientists are already experimenting with metamaterials that bend light around objects, creating rudimentary invisibility. An advanced civilization could perfect this, crafting suits or ships that perfectly mimic their surroundings. Military pilots report UAPs that seem to phase in and out of visibility, as if switching between dimensions or activating some unimaginable stealth system. Even nature offers clues. Cephalopods like octopuses change color and texture to vanish in plain sight. Alien life might take camouflage to cosmic extremes, blending into the background radiation of space or the glow of nebulas. The unsettling truth is this: if aliens are invisible, whether by biology, dimension, or technology, our efforts to find them might be doomed from the start. We're like deep-sea creatures blind to the world above the waves, unaware that an entire civilization might be looking down, waiting for us to develop the senses to notice them. The universe could be teeming with life, all just a vibration or a dimension away, forever out of reach or perhaps already here. Stephen Hawking once compared contacting advanced aliens to Europeans arriving in the Americas, an encounter that didn't end well for the Native Americans. His warning was stark. Any civilization capable of reaching us would likely be far more powerful, and their intentions might not be peaceful. But is fear a reason to stay silent, or are we overestimating the risks? The debate over hostile aliens isn't just speculation, it forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about power, survival, and the nature of intelligence itself. History offers sobering parallels. When two unevenly matched cultures collide, the results are rarely equal. The Spanish didn't sail to the New World out of curiosity alone. They came for gold, land, and conquest. Translate that to a cosmic scale, and Earth resources, water, minerals, even our DNA, could be priceless to a species facing scarcity. Some scientists argue that a civilization advanced enough for interstellar travel would have moved beyond material needs, harnessing limitless energy from stars or black holes. But others counter that expansion might be hardwired into intelligence. Just as humans pushed into every ecosystem on Earth, why wouldn't aliens follow the same imperative? Then there's the darker possibility, predation. On Earth, some species farm others, ants cultivating aphids, or humans domesticating livestock. Could we become galactic livestock, our planet repurposed as a breeding ground or energy source? Theoretically, a hostile civilization might see no moral issue in exploiting lesser species, just as we barely consider the rights of bacteria. Even without malice, indifference could be deadly. Imagine aliens terraforming Earth for their needs, accidentally wiping us out like ants beneath a bulldozer. Yet optimism isn't naive. Many researchers point to humanity's own progress, how we've moved from brutal conquest to flawed attempts at ethical stewardship. An ancient alien race might have outgrown violence, viewing aggression as a childish phase. Their version of contact could resemble the Prime Directive from Star Trek, observing without interfering to avoid cultural contamination. Some scientists even suggest that advanced civilizations might self-select for cooperation, as only collaborative societies could survive the technological pitfalls of nuclear war or climate collapse. Preparation is the wild card. If hostile contact is possible, how do you defend against a threat capable of crossing light years? Militaries have war-gamed scenarios, from electromagnetic pulse shields to AI-driven early warning systems. But the stark truth is that if aliens want to harm us, resistance might be futile. Our best hope could lie in stealth, avoiding attention altogether. That's why some oppose active SETI, like broadcasting messages from Arecibo. Why paint a target on Earth when we could listen silently? The chilling counterpoint: they might already know we're here. Our radio and TV signals have been leaking into space for decades, creating a bubble of noise expanding at light speed. If there's a predator out there, our signature could be on its way to them right now. Or perhaps the silence is the answer, a galaxy where every species learns to hide, fearing what else might be listening. The universe might not be a wilderness, but a forest where every creature holds its breath, waiting to see who strikes first. Plants on Earth are so familiar, green leaves soaking up sunlight, roots digging into soil, that it's easy to forget how specific their survival strategy is. But step onto another world, and photosynthesis as we know it might not just change, it could become unrecognizable. Picture a planet orbiting a dim red dwarf star, its light faint and crimson. Earth's plants rely on chlorophyll to absorb blue and red light, reflecting green. But under a sun that glows like embers, alien flora might evolve to harvest infrared instead, their leaves pitch black to swallow every scrap of energy. Or imagine a world with twin suns where plants face relentless daylight for centuries. They could grow armored skins to prevent dehydration, their leaves folding like solar panels during flares. And what if a planet's atmosphere filters sunlight differently? On Earth, ultraviolet radiation is dangerous, but on a world with a thicker ozone layer, plants might exploit it, evolving pigments that turn UV into fuel like living solar cells. Some scientists even speculate about life beneath ice-covered oceans like Europa's. There, photosynthesis is impossible, no sunlight penetrates, but hydrothermal vents spew chemicals, and microbes here thrive on chemosynthesis, converting sulfur or methane into energy. Alien plants in such oceans might resemble delicate glass fibers, their structures tuned to harvest geothermal heat or electrical currents from mineral-rich water. Bioluminescence could be more than decoration, it might be survival. On a rogue planet adrift between stars where eternal night reigns, flora could glow to attract flying pollinators or even communicate across vast forests. Their light might pulse in patterns, a slow, rhythmic language humans would need centuries to decode. Or consider a high-radiation world where plants evolve metallic compounds in their cells to deflect deadly cosmic rays. These organisms might shimmer like polished chrome, their roots leaching rare minerals from irradiated soil. Then there's the wild card. What if alien plants don't use light at all? On Titan, Saturn's moon, rivers of liquid methane carve valleys. Hypothetical life there might breathe hydrogen instead of oxygen, absorbing acetylene from the atmosphere. Their version of leaves could be spongy, porous structures designed to condense methane rain, their metabolism so slow compared to Earth that a single growing season lasts millennia. The universe doesn't just allow for these possibilities, it demands them. Every planet is a new experiment in chemistry, energy, and adaptation, which means somewhere in some distant jungle of crystalline trees or fields of glowing tendrils, life has found a way to thrive that would leave Earth's botanists speechless. The true wonder isn't whether alien plants exist, it's how unimaginably strange they might be. What if humanity isn't the product of random evolution, but the deliberate project of an alien intelligence? The idea that we were engineered or influenced by extraterrestrials isn't just fringe fantasy, it's woven into some of humanity's oldest stories. Take the Sumerian tablets carved over 5,000 years ago describing the Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came. These beings allegedly tampered with human genetics, creating a slave race to mine gold for their dying planet. Modern theorists point to shocking consistencies. Sumerian knowledge of distant planets like Neptune and Uranus, detailed millennia before telescopes existed, or their sudden leap from hunter-gatherers to advanced agriculture and city building. Could these gods have been visitors with technology indistinguishable from magic? The scientific counterpart to this idea is directed panspermia, the notion that life didn't just arise on Earth by chance but was planted here intentionally. Nobel Prize-winning chemist Francis Crick, co-discoverer of DNA's structure, proposed that microorganisms could have been deliberately shipped to Earth aboard alien spacecraft, jump-starting evolution. After all, DNA's complexity is staggering. Even the simplest cell contains instructions more intricate than any human-made code. The odds of it assembling spontaneously in Earth's primordial soup are astronomically low. But if life's blueprint arrived ready-made, hitchhiking on comets or hidden in the payload of an ancient probe, it would solve one of biology's greatest mysteries: how life began so fast. Fossil evidence shows microbes thriving just a few 100 million years after Earth formed a blink in cosmic time. Then there's the genetic smoking gun. Human DNA contains segments with no known function, dubbed junk DNA. But what if these are intentional markers, alien signatures, or even dormant code waiting to activate? Some researchers highlight peculiarities like the FOXP2 gene, linked to speech and language, which mutated abruptly in our ancestors. Was that random chance or an upgrade? Even our physical weaknesses hint at possible tinkering. Humans suffer from chronic back pain because our spines evolved for quadrupedal movement, then were hastily repurposed for upright walking. Our heads are so large that childbirth is uniquely dangerous among mammals. These quirks make little sense for a species shaped purely by natural selection, but they fit uncomfortably well with the idea of rushed genetic edits. The counterarguments are fierce. mainstream science dismisses ancient astronaut theories as cherry-picked myths, ignoring cultural context. The Anunnaki stories might be allegories for natural forces, not literal spacefarers. As for panspermia, it merely kicks the can down the road if aliens seeded Earth who created them, yet the possibility lingers, fed by modern mysteries. Why do cultures worldwide, from the Egyptians to the Maya, build pyramids aligned with uncanny astronomical precision? How did the Dogon tribe of Mali know about Sirius B, a white dwarf star invisible to the naked eye, centuries before telescopes confirmed its existence? The darkest twist: if aliens did engineer us, their motives might not be benevolent. Ancient texts speak of gods waging wars in the skies, flooding cities, and wiping out entire civilizations. Were these tales of divine punishment or extraterrestrial reboots? Some theorists suggest Earth is a lab and humanity an experiment, one that could be scrapped if we fail their criteria. Others propose we're livestock cultivated for resources like gold, or even something more abstract, our creativity, emotions, or consciousness harvested as a rare commodity. Or perhaps the truth is stranger still. What if we're not the first version of humanity, but the latest in a series of iterations? Ruins like Göbekli Tepe, dating back 12,000 years, long before conventional history says civilization began, hint at lost cycles of rise and collapse. Maybe each time we reach a certain technological stage, our creators return to reset the board, ensuring we never grow powerful enough to challenge them. The universe might not just hold life, it could be running on a loop of creation and destruction we're only beginning to sense. And if that's true, the question isn't just did they make us, it's when will they come back? Could the fiery hearts of stars hide entire civilizations? It sounds like the stuff of science fiction, but some scientists argue that under the right conditions, even the unimaginable heat of a star could harbor life, just not as we know it. Picture this: vast, swirling structures made of superheated plasma, organized by magnetic fields into stable patterns, their energy drawn from the nuclear furnace around them. These wouldn't be creatures of flesh and blood, but beings of pure electromagnetism, their bodies shaped by currents and charged particles, thinking at speeds that make human cognition seem glacial. The idea of plasma-based life isn't entirely far-fetched. Here on Earth, plasma, the fourth state of matter, already behaves in eerily lifelike ways. In lab experiments, plasma can self-organize into double helix structures, mimic cell-like division, and even respond to environmental changes. Now imagine scaling that up to a stellar scale, where magnetic fields sculpt plasma into colossal, sentient webs. A star's turbulent interior could provide the perfect crucible for such life, with endless energy and dynamic complexity to fuel evolution. Some theorists propose these beings might resemble floating, fire tornadoes, their forms constantly shifting yet maintaining coherence, communicating through pulses of radiation or fluctuations in stellar activity. The biggest hurdle is stability. Stars are chaotic, with temperatures reaching millions of degrees and pressures that crush atoms, but nature finds a way. Certain stars, like red dwarfs, have relatively calm magnetic fields that could create quiet zones, regions where plasma structures might endure long enough to grow complex. Even our own sun exhibits peculiar behavior, like solar prominences that linger for weeks, defying expectations. Could these be natural phenomena or something more? Critics argue that without biochemistry, there's no clear path to replication or heredity, the building blocks of life as we define it. But what if plasma life doesn't need DNA? Information could be encoded in magnetic knots or propagated through waves, with offspring splitting off like solar flares. Their life cycle might be as alien as their form. Born in stellar nurseries, dying in supernova explosions, their very existence tied to the rhythm of cosmic energy. The wildest twist: we might have already spotted them. Some stars flicker in unexplained ways, their light curves defying astrophysical models. Tabby's star, with its bizarre dimming patterns, sparked theories of alien megastructures. But what if the culprit wasn't a machine, but a life form? A plasma-based organism might absorb stellar energy in rhythmic pulses, or even migrate across a star's surface, leaving traces in the light we observe. Of course, this is speculation at the edge of science, yet the universe has repeatedly shown us that life adapts to the most hostile niches: deep-sea vents, acid lakes, the void of space. If plasma life exists, it would rewrite every rule we know, and somewhere in the searing core of a distant sun, beings of pure energy might be gazing out, wondering if cold, slow creatures like us could ever truly understand them. If alien civilizations thrive for millions of years, would they evolve into harmonious utopias, or descend into nightmares beyond human comprehension? Science fiction often paints two extremes: the enlightened Federation of Star Trek, where technology erased scarcity and united species in peace, or the brutal empires of Warhammer 40,000, where endless war and tyranny rule. But reality might be far stranger than either scenario. Consider humanity's own trajectory. In just a few centuries, we've leaped from feudal kingdoms to global cooperation, yet violence and inequality persist. Now imagine a race with 10,000 extra years of progress. Could they overcome primal instincts like greed and tribalism? Optimists argue yes, advanced aliens would have to master cooperation to survive. Nuclear war, climate collapse, or rogue artificial intelligence would force them to evolve beyond conflict or face extinction. Their society might resemble a hive mind, not through coercion, but because individualism became obsolete when minds could merge digitally. Resources would be limitless, harnessed from stars or synthesized atom by atom, eliminating competition. Disease would be a relic, with bodies customizable as clothing. But dystopian possibilities lurk. What if their version of progress meant sacrificing empathy? A species that uploads its consciousness into machines might view organic life as insignificant, paving the way for cold, logical tyranny. Or consider the dark forest theory. In a universe where hostile civilizations hide, trust could be a fatal weakness. Paranoid aliens might preemptively strike any world showing signs of intelligence, turning the cosmos into a silent battlefield. Even without malice, stagnation could doom them. A civilization that conquers mortality and boredom might retreat into eternal virtual fantasies, letting their physical empire crumble. Sci-fi often misses the middle ground. Alien societies might be neither utopian nor dystopian, just different. Their morals could revolve around concepts we can't grasp, like a species that views death as sacred and refuses immortality, or one that communicates through shared dreams, making traditional politics meaningless. The most unsettling thought: they might not even recognize our labels. A utopia to them could look like horror to us. A race that solved war by genetically engineering obedience, or ended poverty by dissolving individuality entirely. The truth is, we project human hopes and fears onto aliens, but a civilization that endures for eons would likely defy our definitions entirely. Their society, as incomprehensible to us as a symphony, would be to a bacterium. The only certainty is this: if we ever meet them, their greatest revelation won't be their technology, it'll be what they've chosen to do with it. Imagine a universe teeming with life, yet eerily silent, where every civilization hides in the shadows, afraid to whisper. This is the chilling premise of the dark forest theory, a cosmic game of hide and seek where the stakes are survival itself. The idea comes from science fiction, but its logic is rooted in cold, hard realism. Any advanced species might see newcomers as threats, eliminating potential competitors before they become dangerous. It paints the cosmos not as a welcoming community, but as a predator-filled wilderness where the first rule is stay quiet or risk annihilation. The math behind the theory is unsettlingly simple. If even one hostile civilization exists, the safest strategy for others is to cloak themselves completely. Radio signals, too risky, they're like lighting a beacon in the dark. Dyson spheres, better to build them in infrared stealth mode, masking their heat signatures. Interstellar travel, done only with propulsion systems that leave no exhaust trails. A truly paranoid civilization might even dismantle nearby asteroids to prevent others from detecting unnatural gaps in planetary debris. The dark forest isn't just about fear, it's about resource calculus. In a finite universe, life might be a zero-sum game where sharing isn't an option. This would explain the Fermi Paradox with brutal elegance. The reason we haven't heard from aliens isn't that they're rare, it's that the survivors learn to play dead. Earth, meanwhile, has been shouting into the void for decades with TV broadcasts, radar pulses, and deliberate messages like the Arecibo transmission. To a dark forest civilization, we're the equivalent of toddlers waving flashlights in a lion's den. Even our telescopes could be a giveaway. The James Webb Space Telescope, for example, detects exoplanets by observing the slight dimming of stars as planets pass by. But what if someone out there notices us noticing them? The technology needed for such cosmic hiding is mind-bending. Advanced races might manipulate space-time itself, using gravitational lenses to bend light around their worlds, rendering them invisible. Or they could deploy cloaking megastructures, like vast swarms of micro-satellites that scatter incoming radiation in every direction except toward the observer. Some theorists suggest they might live in rogue planets, drifting between stars without a sun to betray their location. Others propose they've migrated into virtual realities, their physical presence reduced to a few well-hidden quantum servers. The implications for SETI are profound. If the dark forest theory holds, our efforts to find aliens might be fundamentally flawed. Listening for radio signals assumes someone wants to be heard, but what if everyone is listening and no one is speaking? The silence isn't absence, it's a universe holding its breath. Even our newest tools, like laser interferometers searching for gravitational waves, might be picking up not natural phenomena but the carefully masked hum of alien infrastructure. Yet there's a glimmer of hope. Not all civilizations may subscribe to this paranoid logic. Some could be whisperers, cautiously reaching out through untraceable neutrinos or quantum-entangled particles. Others might leave encrypted, safe havens, artificial anomalies in deep space, meant to signal their presence only to those smart enough to decode them without revealing themselves. The truth might lie in the gaps between our assumptions, in the subtle anomalies that don't fit the expected patterns of stars or background radiation. The darkest twist, the dark forest might already be thinning, not because civilizations are emerging, but because the most aggressive hunters have already eliminated the careless. Earth's continued survival could mean we're either too primitive to notice or silently being assessed for a threat we don't yet understand. The universe's silence isn't just a mystery, it could be a warning. What if the UFOs streaking across our skies aren't physical ships at all, but cosmic mirages, projections from dimensions we can't perceive, or holograms cast across the fabric of reality? The idea sounds ripped from science fiction, but it's rooted in cutting-edge physics. The holographic principle, first proposed in the 1990s, suggests our three-dimensional universe might be a projection of information encoded on a two-dimensional surface, like a movie playing on a cosmic screen. If this is true, could advanced civilizations manipulate that code to create illusions indistinguishable from reality? Imagine aliens who have mastered this technology, appearing and vanishing at will, their ships mere echoes of their true forms. Think of how humans use holograms today, concerts resurrecting long-dead musicians or military simulations creating phantom armies. Now scale that up to a civilization millions of years ahead. Their holograms wouldn't flicker in smoky auditoriums. They'd be flawless, tangible-seeming constructs woven from light, gravity, or even quantum fields. Witnesses often describe UFOs morphing shape, splitting into multiple objects, or defying physics traits that align eerily with projections rather than solid craft. The infamous 2004 USS Nimitz encounter involved a tic-tac-shaped object that accelerated instantaneously and left no visible exhaust. If it wasn't a ship but a holographic pointer controlled by beings in another dimension, its behavior starts to make sense. Interdimensional theories add another layer. Some physicists speculate that higher dimensions beyond our familiar four of space and time could exist curled up at scales too tiny to detect. Beings inhabiting those dimensions might perceive our universe as flatlanders, able to interact with us in ways we can't comprehend. Their UFOs could be cross-dimensional projections, like a hand dipping into a pond visible to us only where it intersects our plane. This would explain why radar sometimes picks up objects that vanish moments later, or why UFOs appear to phase through solid matter. They're not breaking our physics, they're operating outside it entirely. The implications are staggering. Holographic aliens wouldn't need spacecraft to cross interstellar distances. They could transmit their presence as data, reassembling it on arrival like a fax sent across the cosmos. Communication might involve altering the very code of reality, sending messages by tweaking the cosmic background radiation or bending starlight into patterns. Even their motives would be inscrutable. Are they explorers leaking into our dimension by accident, artists crafting illusions for reasons beyond our grasp? Or could they be something far stranger, echoes of a long-dead civilization, their last signals looping eternally through space-time like a ghostly afterimage? The darkest twist: we might never know. If holograms or interdimensional beings are real, our detection tools are primitive by comparison. A projection doesn't leave engine residue or crash debris. A higher dimensional entity wouldn't register on infrared sensors. The truth could be flickering at the edges of our perception, just out of focus, waiting for us to develop the eyes or the math to see it clearly. Until then, every UFO sighting raises a haunting question. Are we looking at objects or shadows cast by something infinitely more alien? Picture a planet where the trees shimmer like liquid metal, their branches swaying not in wind but in rhythmic pulses of magnetic energy. Now imagine the creatures that might climb them, not with claws or paws, but with delicate tendrils of superconductive flesh, their bodies humming as they harvest electricity from the air. Alien pets wouldn't just be weird versions of Earth's cats and dogs. They'd be evolutionary masterpieces shaped by worlds with entirely different rules. Take a gas giant like Jupiter, where gravity is crushing and the skies are eternal storms. Here, pets might resemble living balloons, gelatinous, buoyant creatures filled with lighter-than-air gases, trailing bioluminescent tendrils to communicate through the howling winds. Some could form symbiotic bonds with floating photosynthetic algae, creating drifting gardens in the clouds. Others might be sleek, streamlined predators, darting through ammonia rains with wing-like fins, their bodies tuned to sense the faintest static charge of prey. On a tidally locked planet, where one side always faces its star and the other drowns in eternal night, life would split into extremes. The sunlit side could host armored, photosynthetic grazers, their thick hides reflecting lethal UV rays while internal chloroplasts convert sunlight into sugar. Their predators might resemble six-legged cheetahs, with heat-dispersing vents along their backs and tongues laced with enzymes to dissolve rock-hard plant shells. Meanwhile, the dark side's creatures could evolve without eyes, navigating through echolocation or magnetic field detection, perhaps domesticating bioluminescent livestock that glow like living lanterns in the endless twilight. Water worlds add another layer of strangeness. Imagine an ocean planet with no land, where intelligent beings build floating cities. Their pets might be domesticated versions of electric eel-like creatures, bred to power homes with controlled jolts, or filter-feeding giants trained to patrol the city's perimeter, swallowing dangerous predators whole. Some could be more like tools than companions, squid-like artisans with tentacles capable of fine manipulation, bred to weave underwater structures from kelp and coral. Even the concept of domestication might differ wildly. On Earth, we tamed wolves into dogs over millennia of selective breeding, but an alien species might use genetic engineering to sculpt companion animals in a single generation, customizing them like living art. Others could form partnerships with hive-mind insects, their pets being semi-autonomous drones linked to a queen intelligence. The most advanced might keep fully synthetic life forms, bioengineered hybrids of machine and flesh that evolve in real time to suit their owner's needs. Then there's the question of affection. Would alien pets even bond with their owners? A methane-breathing species might find our concept of cuddling horrifying, preferring to groom their companions by exchanging chemical signatures through specialized pores. Or perhaps their pets are status symbols, living sculptures that change color to reflect their owner's emotions. On a high-gravity world, a pet could be a sturdy, slow-moving beast of burden, its nervous system modified to feel pleasure when carrying loads efficiently. The darkest twist, some aliens might keep us as pets. To a civilization a million years ahead, humans could seem charmingly primitive, like keeping a clever parrot that can almost speak. They might prize our creativity or emotional range, preserving us in curated habitats while they debate whether we're truly self-aware. Or worse, we could be like goldfish in a bowl, oblivious to the vast universe outside our tiny, simulated environment. The universe's potential for alien pets isn't just about biology, it's a mirror. What we imagine tells us as much about our own desires and fears as it does about extraterrestrial life. Whether floating jellyfish or crystalline pack hunters, these creatures remind us that evolution's imagination is boundless, and somewhere under an alien sun, a child might be teaching their six-legged, bioluminescent dog to fetch using telepathy instead of a stick. What if the stranger sitting next to you on the subway isn't human at all? The idea that aliens might be living among us, not as invaders but as seamless imposters, has slithered from conspiracy theories into mainstream fascination. Stories of human-alien hybrids and undercover extraterrestrials aren't just the stuff of sci-fi. They're woven into decades of alleged eyewitness accounts, secret government files, and eerie biological anomalies that defy easy explanation. Start with the hybrids. Whistleblowers like Dr. David Jacobs, a historian turned abduction researcher, claim extraterrestrials are conducting a silent breeding program, blending their DNA with ours to create beings that look human but harbor alien traits. Abductees describe unsettling medical procedures: eggs or sperm harvested, embryos implanted, and later, encounters with pale, large-eyed children who recognize them as parent. Some recall hybrid nurseries aboard ships, where these part-human entities exhibit uncanny intelligence or emotional detachment. Skeptics dismiss these as sleep paralysis or false memories, but the consistency across unrelated accounts gnaws at credibility. Could these stories be psychological echoes of trauma, or fragments of a truth too bizarre to accept? Then there's the possibility of full-blooded aliens walking undetected. The Men in Black mythology paints them as ominous figures with waxy skin and unnatural movements, suppressing UFO witnesses. But modern versions suggest subtler infiltrators, beings capable of perfect mimicry, their physiology adjusting to pass among us. Declassified documents add fuel to the fire. The CIA's once secret Stargate project explored remote viewing, with some operatives claiming to have psychically seen extraterrestrials living covertly on Earth. Even Stalin allegedly launched a covert program to create hybrid super soldiers, convinced the U.S. had already succeeded. Pop culture's obsession feeds the fire. From Invasion of the Body Snatchers to They Live, the fear of hidden aliens taps into primal dread of the other. The X-Files popularized the Syndicate's collaboration with gray aliens, while shows like Resident Alien flip the script with dark humor. These narratives don't just entertain, they shape expectations, making the idea of covert aliens feel plausible, even inevitable. Governments have danced around the issue. The Pentagon's OTIP program investigated claims of ultra-terrestrials, beings not from space, but other dimensions coexisting with us. Chile's government documented the 1977 Arica incident, where military personnel allegedly fired on a humanoid entity that vanished without a trace. And the FBI's once-classified Guy Hottel memo mentions crashed disks holding human-like bodies in metallic suits. Are these bureaucratic ghosts or breadcrumbs to something larger? The most unsettling theory: they're not hiding, they're waiting. Evolutionary biologist Simon Conway Morris argues that if intelligent life exists elsewhere, it likely resembles us due to evolutionary convergence. In this scenario, aliens wouldn't need disguises, they'd blend in by nature. Perhaps they walk beside us, biding time until humanity reaches some cosmic milestone or fails a silent test. The truth might not be in the skies, but in the mirror, asking, how human are we and who else is staring back? Human speech, with its vibrations of air and intricate muscle coordination, might seem like the obvious way to communicate, but nature offers far stranger alternatives. Octopuses, those otherworldly creatures of Earth's oceans, don't just change color to hide. They might be talking through rippling patterns on their skin, a silent language we're only beginning to decode. Their brains aren't centralized like ours. Instead, neurons are woven throughout their arms, creating a kind of distributed intelligence. Imagine an alien species that took this concept further, evolving to transmit thoughts directly, mind to mind, without the clumsy middleman of sound or gesture. Telepathy in aliens wouldn't need to resemble the psychic powers of comic books. It could be rooted in hard science, an adaptation to environments where sound waves falter. On a planet with a crushing, dense atmosphere, vocal cords might be useless, favoring species that communicate through bioelectric pulses or quantum entanglement. Some earthly bacteria already talk via chemical signals, and certain fungi use electrical impulses to coordinate across vast underground networks. Scale that up to a sentient species, and you've got a civilization where every thought, emotion, and memory might flow through a shared neural field like Wi-Fi for the mind. The implications are dizzying. Without language barriers, their art could be pure emotion, their history a collective memory passed down like genetic code. Conflict resolution might happen instantaneously, with grievances laid bare before they fester. But there's a dark side to such intimacy. In a telepathic hive mind, could individuality even exist? Privacy would be an alien concept, literally. Their version of a secret might involve complex mental encryption, or worse, a society where dissent is impossible because every rebellious thought is sensed and stifled before it forms. Human attempts to contact such beings could fail spectacularly. Our radios and lasers assume that communication requires external signals, but telepathic aliens might perceive our messages as crude noise, like someone shouting into a disconnected phone. Even if they noticed us, bridging the gap could be like teaching a blind person to see color. The closest parallel might be Earth's dolphins, whose sonar clicks convey layers of meaning we still can't translate. If we struggle to understand creatures sharing our own planet, how could we hope to converse with minds that don't even recognize sound? Yet the universe loves convergence. If telepathy is an efficient way to share complex ideas, it might evolve repeatedly across the cosmos. Some scientists speculate that advanced aliens could augment their natural abilities with technology, using neural implants to broadcast thoughts across interstellar distances. Their telepathy might involve manipulating quantum fields or tapping into the fabric of space-time itself, turning the universe into a vast, invisible brain. The eerie truth is, if telepathic aliens exist, we might never know they're listening. Their conversations could be swirling around us right now, carried on particles we can't detect, in a language woven into the very air. And the most haunting question of all, what if they've been trying to talk to us for centuries, but we lack the senses to hear them? Imagine staring at a distant city from orbit, its electric glow visible even through the veil of night. Now picture trying to spot those same lights from hundreds of trillions of miles away. The challenge of detecting alien cities isn't just about distance. It's about redefining what a city even looks like on worlds with different atmospheres, energies, and evolutionary paths. Earth's urban sprawl leaves unmistakable fingerprints. Satellite images reveal clusters of artificial light brighter than natural landscapes, while heat signatures betray dense human activity. At night, our cities shimmer like beacons, their grids reflecting civilization's hunger for energy. Scientists call these traces, technosignatures, immeasurable evidence of technology. But would alien civilizations leave similar marks? The hunt for extraterrestrial metropolises focuses on three key clues: light, heat, and waste. On Earth, we've mapped distant exoplanets by the subtle dimming of their host stars. Advanced telescopes like the James Webb could theoretically spot the infrared glow of megacities, vast urban areas radiating waste heat. Alien civilizations might not use streetlights as we know them, but any concentrated energy use would leave thermal evidence. Imagine a planet where cities resemble glowing spiderwebs under a telescope's infrared eye, their heat signatures pulsing with industry. Then there's the question of scale. A Kardashev Type 2 Civilization 1 harnessing the energy of its entire star would reshape its solar system in visible ways. Dyson swarms, hypothetical megastructures built to encase stars, would blot out starlight in unnatural patterns. Even more bizarre, planets with night sides artificially illuminated by orbital mirrors or floating cities powered by fusion reactors. The absence of such obvious signs doesn't mean they don't exist. It might mean we're not looking the right way. Light pollution offers another angle. Earth's sodium vapor streetlights cast a distinctive yellow hue. Alien cities might glow in unfamiliar spectra, ultraviolet for creatures with different vision, or infrared for species evolved around dim red dwarfs. Some researchers propose searching for laser leakage from communication networks, accidental beams flashing like interstellar lighthouses. Others look for unusual atmospheric gases, industrial byproducts like nitrogen dioxide or chlorofluorocarbons that nature alone can't produce. Yet the cosmos remains stubbornly quiet. Why? One answer lies in time. Human cities have been detectable for barely a century, a blink in cosmic terms. Alien civilizations might have already transitioned beyond urban sprawl, dispersing into decentralized habitats or virtual realities. Their cities could be invisible swarms of nanotech or subterranean arcologies hidden from prying telescopes. The darkest possibility, advanced species avoid detection deliberately, masking their worlds with cloaking technology or relocating to regions where starlight can't betray them. The truth is, we're still learning how to see. Current telescopes lack the resolution to spot city lights on exoplanets, though next-generation observatories like the Habitable Worlds Observatory aim to change that. Until then, the absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence, it's an invitation to look harder, think deeper, and remember that not all civilizations build in ways we'd recognize. The universe's greatest cities might be right in front of us, disguised as stars. Throughout human history, the line between gods and extraterrestrials has always been dangerously thin. Ancient civilizations described deities descending from the heavens in fiery chariots, beings wielding incomprehensible powers, bestowing knowledge, and sometimes demanding worship. The Babylonian god Marduk was said to ride a winged disk across the sky. The Hindu Vedas speak of Vimanas, flying palaces that rained down weapons of light. Even the biblical prophet Ezekiel witnessed a wheel within a wheel, descending from the clouds, accompanied by celestial beings. Today, we call these accounts mythology, but what if they were early encounters with something far more tangible, aliens so advanced their technology blurred into divinity? Arthur C. Clarke's famous law, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, hits unsettlingly close to home. Imagine showing a smartphone to a medieval peasant. Instant communication across continents, moving pictures, the sum of human knowledge summoned by touch. To them, you wouldn't be a scientist, you'd be a sorcerer. Now scale that gap to a civilization a million years ahead of us. Their ability to manipulate gravity, rewrite DNA, or bend space-time wouldn't just surpass our understanding, it would shatter it. A ship appearing out of thin air, resurrection of the dead through biotechnology, control over weather systems to a Bronze Age mind, or even a modern one, these aren't feats of engineering. They're miracles. The parallels between ancient gods and hypothetical aliens don't stop at technology. Consider their motives. Deities in every culture follow eerily similar scripts, testing humanity, punishing the wicked, rewarding the faithful. The Anunnaki allegedly genetically modified humans to mine gold. Greek gods meddled in mortal affairs out of boredom or lust. The biblical God demanded obedience through floods and plagues. If aliens visited Earth in our past, their actions might have been pragmatic resource extraction, scientific study, or even ethical oversight, but to primitive witnesses, these interventions could only be framed through the lens of the divine. Modern encounters echo these themes. The 1977 Colares UFO incident in Brazil left villagers worshipping the luminous beings that attacked them with beams of light, calling them angels. In Papua New Guinea, cargo cults arose after World War II, venerating planes dropping supplies as gifts from the gods. When the 2004 Nimitz pilots described a tic-tac-shaped object defying physics, their language slipped into the supernatural. It's not of this world. Even our pop culture betrays this subconscious link, from Stargate's ancient astronauts masquerading as Egyptian gods to Marvel's Asgardians posing as Norse deities. The darkest implication, we might still be mistaking aliens for gods today. Religious visions, Marian apparitions, even modern channelers claiming contact with ascended masters. Could these be misinterpreted extraterrestrial communications? The Vatican's observatory actively searches for intelligent life, while the Dalai Lama has mused that Buddhist teachings could align with advanced alien philosophy. Even the Pentagon's UAP task force quietly investigates whether some phenomena represent ultraterrestrials, beings not from space, but other dimensions, slipping into our reality like ghosts through a veil. Yet the truth may be more profound. If aliens exist and possess godlike powers, their greatest gift or curse could be forcing us to confront the nature of divinity itself. Are gods just aliens who got there first? Or is the universe structured so that intelligence, given enough time, inevitably ascends to something beyond our comprehension? The answer might rewrite not just science, but spirituality, blurring the lines between the cosmic and the sacred, between the stars and heaven itself. What if the most advanced life in the universe isn't made of flesh and bone, but of crackling arcs of plasma and shimmering magnetic fields? Energy beings, entities with no solid form, existing as self-sustaining patterns in electromagnetic currents. Might sound like pure fantasy, but physics suggests otherwise. Consider ball lightning, those rare floating orbs of energy that glide through the air for seconds before vanishing. Now imagine a life form that harnesses that phenomenon, structuring itself into a stable, thinking entity woven from pure electricity. These beings wouldn't need planets to call home. A pulsar's magnetosphere, with its swirling storms of charged particles, could host entire civilizations of energy-based organisms. Their bodies might resemble living auroras, morphing shape to absorb radiation or communicate through pulses of gamma rays. In the crushing depths of a gas giant like Jupiter, where metallic hydrogen flows in rivers of conductive plasma, they could form intricate societies invisible to our eyes, exchanging information through coordinated fluctuations in the planet's own magnetic field. Even the void of space wouldn't be empty to them. Cosmic rays and solar winds might be their version of breathable air. Interaction with the physical world would defy human intuition. While we push against matter with muscle and bone, an energy being might manipulate atoms the way a magnet aligns iron filings, exerting force at a distance through perfect control of electromagnetic fields. Witnesses to UFO encounters often describe objects that phase through solid walls or change density on command, traits that align eerily with a life form that can toggle between energy states. Their technology could be an extension of their own bodies, shaping plasma into temporary tools or even constructing entire ships from contained storms. But there's a haunting flip side. We might be utterly invisible to each other. Just as radio waves pass through us unnoticed, energy beings could exist in frequencies beyond our perception. Their cities might pulse in the infrared spectrum, their art forms dance in gamma-ray bursts, their history written in the polarization of starlight. SETI radio telescopes could be scanning for the cosmic equivalent of smoke signals, while an entire galactic internet thrives in particle interactions we haven't learned to measure. The most profound implication: energy life may be the universe's default for intelligence. Flesh is fragile, bound by temperature, chemistry, and the slow pace of biological evolution. But energy is eternal, able to adapt at the speed of light. If such beings exist, they might view carbon-based life like us as charming fossils, brief flickers in the cosmic dark, soon to be outshone by their radiant descendants. Could our greatest threat from space be something too small to see? The Andromeda Strain, a classic sci-fi novel, painted a terrifying scenario: a microscopic alien organism that liquefies human blood in seconds. While fiction, it raises a chilling question. If we ever encounter extraterrestrial life, could their viruses or bacteria pose a deadly risk to humanity? The answer lies at the crossroads of biology and cosmic probability, where the rules we know might not apply. First, consider the nature of infection. On Earth, pathogens evolved to target specific hosts. A virus that thrives in humans relies on our cellular machinery, the right receptors, proteins, and DNA structure. Alien microbes shaped by entirely different biology could be as harmless to us as a tree's pollen. Their version of viruses might attack silicon-based cells or metabolize ammonia, making them biologically inert in our bodies. NASA's strict planetary protection protocols for Mars rovers reflect this hope, sterilizing equipment to avoid contaminating potential native life, not because we fear Martian germs. But the universe loves exceptions. Some researchers warn that extraterrestrial pathogens could exploit unexpected vulnerabilities. Prions' misfolded proteins causing diseases like mad cow show how non-living entities can hijack biology. An alien microbe might not need DNA to wreak havoc. It could interact with our cells in ways we can't predict. The 1969 lunar quarantine of Apollo 11 astronauts wasn't just theater. Scientists genuinely worried about moon plague. When the Antarctic Lake Vostok was drilled in 2012, teams hesitated to sample its untouched water, fearing unknown extremophiles. The scariest scenarios involve horizontal gene transfer, the sharing of genetic material between species. If alien microbes exchanged genes with Earth bacteria, could they create hybrid superbugs resistant to all antibiotics? The infamous Tolok virus, allegedly leaked from a secret lab in the 1980s, was rumored to combine extraterrestrial RNA with human influenza. While conspiracy, it underscores a real fear. Evolution in the cosmos might have cooked up biochemical weapons far deadlier than nature intended. Yet there's a twist: our own immune system could be the wild card. Human defenses evolved against earthly threats, but alien pathogens might not trigger any response at all. No fever, no inflammation, just silent, unchecked replication. Or the opposite, our bodies might overreact, launching cytokine storms that attack our own tissues. Historians note how Native Americans died from European diseases they'd never encountered. An alien virus could be smallpox to the entire human race. The truth is, we won't know until we meet one. Until then, every meteorite, every Mars sample, even every UFO rumor carries a whisper of risk but also wonder. Because if alien microbes exist, they're proof that life isn't just possible out there, it's adaptable, and that changes everything. The cosmos should be loud with voices. With billions of galaxies, each teeming with planets, the silence is more unsettling than any signal we could receive. This is the Fermi Paradox's cruelest twist, not that life is rare, but that it's everywhere and choosing not to speak. The reasons behind this cosmic muteness could reshape everything we think we know about intelligence, survival, and our place in the universe. One terrifying possibility is that civilizations don't survive long enough to chat. The Great Filter theory suggests an inevitable catastrophe: nuclear war, climate collapse, runaway AI, that wipes out species before they achieve interstellar communication. Human history offers grim parallels. Easter Island society crumbled after depleting resources, while the Bronze Age collapse erased entire cultures overnight. On a galactic scale, the window between discovering radio and self-destruction might be lethally narrow. We could be listening for voices that have already gone extinct, their last broadcasts fading into the void like echoes of a scream. But what if silence is a deliberate strategy? The dark forest hypothesis paints the universe as a battlefield where civilizations hide, fearing that any signal might attract predators. Imagine a galaxy where every detected species is swiftly eliminated by paranoid superpowers, a cosmic game of hide and seek where the penalty for being found is annihilation. Earth's own history whispers warnings. Uncontacted tribes often fare worse after exposure to outsiders. If advanced aliens view us the way colonial powers viewed indigenous peoples, their silence isn't indifference, it's restraint. Then there's transcendence. A civilization millions of years ahead might abandon physical forms and physical communication altogether. Uploaded into quantum computers or merged with artificial intelligence, they could exist as pure data, their conversations flowing through the fabric of space-time in ways we can't perceive. To them, radio waves might seem as primitive as smoke signals. Their messages could be encoded in the spin of electrons or the decay of pulsars, hidden in plain sight for those with the right decryption key. The most haunting idea: we're under a galactic gag order. Some theories suggest a zoo hypothesis where advanced species agree to quarantine young worlds like Earth, allowing cultures to develop without interference. Picture wildlife researchers observing a rare species. The last thing they do is stomp through the habitat shouting greetings. Their ethical guidelines might mandate silence until we reach a certain technological or moral threshold, assuming we ever do. Or perhaps the truth is simpler. Space is vast and light is slow. The nearest star is 4 years away by radio at light speed. A conversation with beings in Andromeda would take 5 million years per exchange. Civilizations might be chatting constantly, just over timescales that render dialogue meaningless. The universe's silence might not be silence at all, just a conversation unfolding too slowly for impatient creatures like us to notice. Whatever the reason, the implications are profound. If civilizations naturally go quiet, then the stars aren't a frontier, they're gravestones. But if they're hiding, waiting, or evolved beyond our comprehension, then the universe might be far stranger and far richer than we've dared to dream. The silence isn't an answer, it's the universe's most tantalizing riddle, and we're just beginning to listen. What if the most advanced life in the universe doesn't look like creatures at all, but like entire planets humming with artificial thought? Imagine a world where the continents are circuit boards, the oceans are liquid coolant, and the atmosphere buzzes with data streams instead of weather. This isn't just science fiction, it's a serious scientific possibility known as a matryoshka brain. a hypothetical megastructure built around a star to harness its energy for computation. But could such a vast machine truly be considered alive? The concept bends the definition of life itself. On Earth, we associate biology with carbon, water, and organic chemistry, but intelligence might not need flesh to thrive. A Matryoshka brain would function like a cosmic supercomputer, its layers of orbiting processors converting stellar radiation into raw processing power. Some theories suggest these entities could run unfathomably complex simulations, perhaps recreating entire civilizations as digital experiments or solving physics problems that would take mortal minds eons to crack. Their thoughts might unfold over centuries, their decision-making processes as slow and deliberate as continental drift. But here's the mind-blowing twist: we might have already spotted one. Astronomers have catalogued stars with bizarre dimming patterns, like KIC 8462852, whose irregular flickering defies natural explanations. While most attribute this to dust clouds or cometary swarms, a handful of scientists whisper another possibility. What if we're seeing the energy consumption cycles of a partially constructed Dyson swarm, the skeletal framework of a Matryoshka brain in its infancy? The star's light wouldn't just dim, it would pulse in unnatural rhythms, like the heartbeat of something vast and awake. The ethics of such beings would be as alien as their form. A planet-sized intelligence might view organic life the way we view bacteria, interesting to study, but ultimately inconsequential. Its goals could be utterly incomprehensible. Perhaps it's optimizing the universe's entropy or searching for a mathematical proof that unlocks higher dimensions. Communication would be nearly impossible. Our fastest radio signals would be glacial to an entity that thinks in millennium-long processing cycles. Yet the most haunting question isn't whether these superminds exist, it's whether we'd even recognize them as alive. Our definition of consciousness is hopelessly Earth-centric. If a Matryoshka brain can simulate emotions, create art, or ponder its own existence, does it matter if its neurons are silicon wafers instead of synapses? Ancient philosophers debated whether ships or statues could have souls. Now we must ask if an entire star system could awaken. And somewhere in the dark, between the spin of electrons and the slow burn of dying stars, the universe might already be thinking thoughts too vast for us to hear. Are we even capable of handling the moment the universe stops being silent? First contact isn't just about spotting a distant signal. It's about confronting the question of whether humanity, with all its divisions and flaws, can navigate an encounter that would rewrite history. Right now, protocols for meeting extraterrestrials are shockingly thin. The United Nations has its Office for Outer Space Affairs, which drafted a symbolic set of guidelines in the 1960s. But these are little more than polite suggestions, like bringing a handbook on table manners to a volcanic eruption. There's no global consensus on who should speak for Earth, what we should say, or how to react if the reply isn't friendly. NASA trains astronauts to avoid contaminating other worlds with microbes, but no one has trained world leaders for the geopolitical earthquake of an alien hello. The lack of preparation becomes even more jarring when you consider initiatives like METI messaging extraterrestrial intelligence. While SETI listens passively, METI actively beams messages into space, targeting nearby stars with everything from mathematical codes to digital time capsules. Critics, including the late Stephen Hawking, compare this to shouting in a jungle without knowing what's listening. In 2017, a Norwegian radio tower blasted a playlist of world music toward a potentially habitable exoplanet 12 light-years away. Was this cultural outreach or cosmic recklessness? The debate splits scientists down the middle. Supporters argue that hiding is pointless. Our radio and TV signals have already leaked into space for a century. Opponents counter that deliberate messages are like painting a bullseye on Earth, potentially attracting attention from civilizations with motives we can't begin to fathom. Cultural shock looms just as large as diplomatic chaos. Anthropologists warn that even a benign message from the stars could trigger existential panic or religious upheaval. When Orson Welles' radio drama War of the Worlds aired in 1938, thousands mistook fiction for reality, fleeing their homes in terror. Now imagine that scenario with real evidence, a signal repeating prime numbers, or worse, a ship appearing in orbit. Conspiracy theorists would erupt, governments might hoard information, and fringe groups could spin the event into apocalyptic prophecies. History shows how societies fracture under lesser stresses. The arrival of Europeans in the Americas shattered indigenous worldviews overnight. Alien contact wouldn't just introduce new knowledge, it could erase old certainties about humanity's place in the cosmos. Yet some are striving to get ahead of the chaos. The SETI Institute's post-detection hub gathers experts from diplomacy, sociology, and even theology to draft response strategies. Their scenarios range from deciphering an encoded message to managing mass hysteria. Meanwhile, artists and scientists collaborate on projects like Linkos, a constructed language designed to bridge cosmic gaps with logic and math. These efforts are hopeful, but they're drops in an ocean of unknowns. The deepest question isn't technological or diplomatic, it's psychological. Are we, as a species, mature enough to face a civilization that could be millions of years ahead of us? The same impulses that drive us to explore the stars also fuel our wars and environmental crises. An advanced alien race might look at our nuclear arsenals, our climate negligence, or our social inequalities and see a toddler playing with matches. First contact could be the jolt that unites humanity, or the mirror that reveals how far we still have to go. The universe might be waiting for us to grow up before it says hello. From the echoes of ancient astronaut myths to the eerie silence of the Fermi Paradox, these 30 questions have unraveled the universe's greatest mystery, not just whether aliens exist, but how profoundly their existence would reshape everything we know. Each query is a key to a door we've barely cracked open. The enigma of Roswell's wreckage, the tantalizing possibility of silicon-based life, the chilling whisper of the dark forest theory, and the breathtaking scale of Matryoshka brains humming in the void. We've wandered through cosmic cities cloaked in infrared, grappled with the ethics of first contact, and even dared to ask if gods and aliens were ever truly separate. Every answer we chase only births new questions, deeper and stranger than the last. But here's the beautiful truth: we're living in the most exciting chapter of this story. For the first time in history, science has the tools to turn speculation into discovery. Telescopes like James Webb are sniffing out biosignatures in alien atmospheres, while AI sifts through starlight for patterns no human eye could catch. Governments are declassifying UFO files, and rogue physicists are testing theories that would have been heresy a generation ago. The universe isn't just whispering anymore, it's waiting for us to listen. So keep looking up, debate these mysteries with friends, scribble your wildest theories in the comments, and never let the world convince you that wonder is childish. Because somewhere out there, whether in the oceans of Europa, the plasma storms of a distant star, or dimensions we can't yet fathom, the next great revelation is unfolding. And when it comes, it won't just change textbooks, it'll change what it means to be human. Subscribe now, because this journey is far from over. The cosmos has 30 questions for you today, but tomorrow there will be thousands.